There's a very easily missable questline that allows you to actually become a dragon. This is the Priestess Heart, which turns the human frame into an ancient dragon and boosts dragon cult incantations. There are also a lot of amazing awards in this questline, like the Flowerstone Gavel, Igons Great Bow, and some dragon-related incantations as well. To start this questline, you're going to need to head to the Pillar Path waypoint, where just west of the waypoint you should find this NPC down on the ground. You're going to want to talk to him and exhaust all of his dialogue, and then you can continue running south along this path, where as you approach this middle area here, you should be invaded. This invader is the Ancient Dragon Man, who after defeating you'll just have to continue down this path. Just continue riding along this path until you get to this entrance to this cave right here, and we are going to just run directly to where we need to go in the Dragon's Pit so we can pick up this Site of Grace, and then we are going to run through this. We are going to take this left turn right here, and we're going to continue down this path. We're just going to avoid all of the enemies along the way, except for the things that we absolutely do have to fight. At this point, we're going to take another left. We're going to run down this pathway right here. We are going to dodge past this big boy, and we're going to then take this tunnel to the left. Once we get into this room, we can then once again turn left down this tunnel, rolling past any of the enemies that might hit us. And then just ahead of us is going to be this big altar and a giant pit. We need to actually jump inside of this pit, where we're going to have to fight the Dragon Man again. This time, instead of an invasion, it is the full-blown version of him. And honestly, it looks really, really freaking cool. Now, we will get a pretty cool weapon for defeating him here as well. Now, after defeating him, you're going to get the Dragon Hunter's Great Katana. This thing is pretty phenomenal, and it has the Dragon Wound Slash on it. Designed to hunt colossal dragons, this skill cloaks the armament with a jagged, gravelstone aura before performing a high-leaping slash. Charge the attack to also fire off the aura. Now from here, instead of exiting the dungeon, you're going to continue past this door. We are then just going to follow this path until we get to the end. We're then just going to follow this path until we get to the Site of Grace. As we get out of this cave, all we need to do is just run right down this path. There is going to be a dragon at the bottom of this that you do not need to kill if you do not want to. There's also a note from Egon on the top of that cliff to the right there, which you don't need to read if you don't want to, but you can if you so desire. But otherwise, what we need to do is just kind of run right past this dragon, or kill it if you so desire. Now what we need to do is head down this path right here with all of these spiky rocks sticking out of it, and we honestly just need to run to the end of this path. So as you get to the end of this path, you're going to see that altar that is knocked, and there's going to be a Site of Grace here. This is the grand altar of the Dragon Communion. So all we've done is run from the Dragon's Pit terminus, we've run past this dragon, and then down this path. Now there's also this dragon-formed person here, and we are going to talk to this person until we exhaust their dialogue, and we are going to devour the Draconic Essence. This is going to give us the Ancient Dragon's Blessing. Now we need to go from this Site of Grace, where we're going to run past the dragon once again. Now we just need to run back down the path we came, back towards the dragon that we ran past and or killed, and then instead of going to the left, which is where we came from, we are going to head up this path where these two archways are, and we're just going to continue running down this path and just follow this cliff edge, and at the end of this path you're going to see an updraft. This updraft is going to be right here on the map before you get to the area where you can cross the bridge. You don't have to unlock this updraft, just run up to it and hit the jump button, and you're going to be lifted all the way to the top. You're then going to run forward and cross this bridge where there's going to be a Site of Grace on the other side. Now from this Site of Grace, you're going to continue up this path. Now as you get up to this area, there's going to be two dragons fighting. Now if you stay back here, the two dragons are just going to fight each other. You can run in and try and kill both of them at the same time, or you can just chill back here and let one of them just die on their own, and then you can take out the remaining one. It's going to be completely up to you with what you want to do. It is actually kind of fun just to watch them destroy each other. Now once the last dragon is defeated, you will get the Dragon Heart and some dragon scale flesh, and you'll start hearing Egon actually talking in the distance. I think he had a lot of fun just watching you duke it out with these things. To find Egon, you're going to go to this corner of the map right here. Just run up to Egon and talk to him. He's going to ask you to summon you at the Bale fight, and he's going to give you Egon's furled finger. After getting the finger, just continue east to this updraft where we have to now scale the jagged peak. Once you go up the first updraft, there's going to be another one where we are going to jump up this one as well. Now at the top of this, we're going to continue through this little pathway right here and go all the way through this, and we're just going to continue following this pathway. When you get to this point, there's going to be a bunch of falling boulders. You can trick them to have them fall and you can just avoid them, or you can go down this right path here and you can avoid all the falling boulders this way. So that's exactly what we are going to do, because there should be one more right there. We're going to wait for that bad boy to fall, and then we are just going to run across. And then as we jump up across this, there is going to be a dragon here. You do not need to fight this. If you decide to fight and kill it, you can get an ancient smithing stone and an ancient somber smithing stone from defeating this, but you actually don't need to. That is the only thing that you get from that particular dragon. So if you're not in need of those smithing stones, you can just run right past, and we're going to continue all the way up this very steep cliffside here. Just run past all of the dead dragons here. It's kind of a sign of what's to come. And at the very top of this is going to be a site of grace. Now from this site of grace, we can hop on our horse, and we are actually going to continue southwest up this cliff, continuing to follow the path of dead dragons. Now we are just going to go fully through this because I don't want anybody to get lost. I'm not going to be doing any jump cuts or anything. You do need to watch out for all of this fun little lightning around here. There's going to be an updraft that we can take, so just hop into this bad boy. And then at the top of this, we can continue down this path more southwest. I'm just going to keep running along this path. Now, as we get up to here, you're going to have to hug this little wall right here. You want to make sure to take the upper path and not the lower path, and just jump across any little gaps. Take your time going through here and try not to fall down, because holes are bad in this. I've fallen through so many freaking holes and died, and it is a freaking nightmare. There's another updraft right here. And then this is where there's even more dead dragons. We're going the right way. Now we're going to continue down this path right here. And what we can do is, while we're here, we might as well pick up this ancient dragon smithing stone right here. And then we just need to turn around a little bit, and there's going to be a dead dragon here designating that we need to go this way. And we just continue going all the way up this path. Just around this corner is going to be another updraft, and we're going to take this bad boy, and we are just about there. And by just about there, I mean this is the site of grace, and there is going to be a fun, deadly fight just ahead of us. Now this is the boss arena just in front of us, where we're going to fight Baal. Now if you've never entered this arena before, you are able to summon Egon in here, but you can't do it until the boss is revealed. So if you have any buffs that you need to do, go ahead and buff yourself before you run in. And then what you need to do is just run into the arena enough until Baal is revealed. You can hear like a little growl, and then if you turn around, you're going to see Egon's summon sign right there, where you can summon Drake Warrior Egon. This is a very cool looking dragon, and we are also going to summon the Mimic for this because we're cool and we don't care about that stuff. And now we're just going to try not to die while Egon talks to this dragon instead of actually fights it. It's super cool. This is not an easy fight, but once defeated, you get the Heart of Baal. And Egon is very, very excited about defeating this thing. And also, so am I. Now, I'll show you the build that I use to be able to defeat him. I use the Blood Dryleaf Arts. I made a video on my Dryleaf Arts build. I just switched it to being Blood instead to get that little extra damage on Baal. Also works amazing on Mesmer. I also use the Blood Backhand Blades as well, but for the most part, I just used Dryleaf Whirlwind on this fight. I had the Divine Beast Head equipped, Lionel's Armor, Veteran's Gauntlets, and Rolana's Greaves. I used the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman for 20% reduction to physical damage, the Crimson Seed Talisman +1, which greatly boosts HP restoration from the Flask of Crimson Tears, the Shard of Alexander, and the Pearl Drake Talisman +2, which vastly boosts non-physical damage negation. Obviously, I also use the Mimic. High damage negation is definitely required for this fight because he's honestly kind of ridiculous. But I also have Faith in this build, so I was able to use a couple of different things. For my Physic, I use the Cracked Thorny Tear, as well as the Crimson Tear for an extra healing potion. And for my spells, I use Flame Grant Me Strength, Golden Vow, and Barrier of Gold. Now you're going to want to travel back to the foot of the jagged peak and then head back over to Egon's location. Once here, you'll find that Egon is dead, which is actually pretty sad because he just defeated his nemesis. But if we pick up these items, we are going to get all of Egon's equipment, the Great Bow, all of the armor, and Egon's Bell Bearing. This Bell Bearing can be used to purchase the arrows that you need for his bow. Unfortunately, his armor isn't particularly great. It's basically just shambles of other pieces of armor put together. This poor guy had it pretty rough. After that, you're going to want to head back to the Grand Altar of the Dragon Communion. And you'll notice that the dragon-formed person here is no longer here, but you can pick up the Priestess Heart and the Flowerstone Gavel. The Flowerstone Gavel is a hammer that requires strength, dexterity, and arcane to use. And its unique skill is the Flower Dragon Bolt, which calls down red lightning of the ancient dragons to strike a target. It deals lightning damage and also temporarily reduces the target's lightning damage negation. It can also be charged to increase its power. Now you can also walk up to this flame and examine the altar, where you can commune with Baal, which will allow us to choose to either get Baal's Tyranny, which channels Dragon Dread to roar with a heat wave of blast, or you can get Baal's Flame Lightning, which channels Dread Dragon to strike with a flame lightning infused Talon Bone. You can only pick up one of these per playthrough, so if you want to get both, you're going to have to do New Game Plus. Now the coolest part about this is the reusable item, the Priestess Heart. This turns the human frame into an ancient dragon and boosts dragon cult incantations. Now unfortunately for this to work, you will have to be completely naked. But thanks to your Scatter Tree blessings, you do have physical and damage negation from those already. So what you can do is equip it to your pouch, and then you can activate it to gain this really cool armor. Now you'll notice after equipping this, we did gain resistance to magic, fire, lightning, and holy. And we also gained a tiny bit of physical damage reduction as well. So it's not like you are completely naked, but you do get to look like a freaking human dragon. So I mean, there's that. Now this form will permanently stay in place until you die, and you will not be able to change your equipment while in this form. So it's going to be completely up to you if you actually want to use this or not. The benefit of it is you will be a late load, so if you wanted to do a light build, you actually could use this for it if you wanted to. But that is all I've got for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.